Roronoa Zoro, the man, the myth, the legend. The question we all want to know. Does he have Conqueror's Haki? Yes, he does. Kaido himself has confirmed it. So let's party. So I wanted this to be my first video, but then chapter 10 out of 10 dropped, so I cancelled it and put the whole idea off. But then I was like, why not still do it? So we'll still discuss all the evidence the community brought for Zoro having or not having Conqueror's Haki, and then we'll talk about his past, present, and future with it. But before you do, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, let's jump right in. First things first, let's bring on to the most popular talking point, the thematic evidence. To summarize, really, the right hand of the past Pirate King had it, therefore Zoro, the right hand of the future Pirate King, should have it. Then there's the parallels between the two. They're both swordsmen, they each have a scarred eye, they like to drink, etc. But there's one thing I didn't like about this argument, and it was that it didn't go far enough. So let's go even further. The unstoppable white-beard had Ace, who had Conqueror's Haki. The invincible Big Mom had Katakuri, who had Conqueror's Haki. And I'm still 80% certain Kaido has King. Evidence? His name is King. That's the quality of a king. More seriously, he's unafraid to solo Big Mom's crew, is unafraid of Big Mom herself, unlike some other people, and it takes charge of the crew when Kaido isn't around. Even when Kaido is around. I'm 90% certain Shanks has Ben Beckman. Ben can make Kizaru pause, and is a take-charge dude. Plus, Shanks' crew is highlighted as being impenetrable, with high average bounty and high loyalty. And of all the Yonko, his executives were the only ones called by name. I think it's fair to speculate that to run a crew like that, his right hand should have Conqueror's Haki. So if all of the old school Yonko and the past Pirate King had one active user on their crew, then our future Pirate King must have one too. Good. Let's move on to the in-universe reasoning. We have our definitions from Boa, Marigold, and Rayleigh. Possessing kingly qualities and the ability to stand above others, the ability to overpower wills, intimidate, and get their name known on a global scale. We'll take this one at a time. Overpowering will. The very first thing we learn about Zoro, Luffy wanted him because he's strong. Second thing we learn, he's intimidating. Everyone talks about how strong he is. Even confident fighters like Hiroshima back down from him. And of course, there's the Monet incident. He basically bullied her into a psychological crisis. Here's the deal though. Luffy has never intimidated anyone in the entire series. Ever. And while people expect Zoro to have Conqueror's Haki just by virtue of his natural swag, Luffy can outright use it and people are still surprised he has it. And it's not just Luffy. Shanks, back in his Mihawk dueling days, when the sound of one hand clapping was a philosophical and not a practical problem, he couldn't even intimidate Higuma. Higuma. I don't need to say anymore. Really can't even scare the auction house guards. They just see an old man. His hobby is being a part-time slave. When Kanye West said slavery was a choice, he is literally the only person that could apply to. And that's an unintimidating hobby. Ace couldn't intimidate Buggy and his crew until they saw his white beard tattoo. Nor the Wano residents, nor even that one town that chucked him into the river. Finally, for an unfair comparison, amnesiac Big Mom in Wano. She failed to intimidate even Tama and Momo. Tama is confused why Chopper's even scared. Tama? Big Mom is like 29 feet tall and probably weighs the same as 12 elephants. How are you not scared? Her nose is bigger than your entire body. If Big Mom inhaled suddenly, you'd become one of her boogers. Like I said, a little unfair. Maybe alternate personalities don't have Conqueror's Haki. Point being, unless their reputations were already known, no other Conqueror's Haki user can be described as naturally intimidating. Now, to deal with becoming world famous and having kingly qualities. Here's a heuristic. Definitions are only as good as the things they exclude, and on that note, now keep an open mind on this. What about Jinbe? He's a world famous Shishibukai, was the leader of a devoted crew and had Fishman Island and even Whole Cake calling him Boss Jinbe. But there's even more to be said for him. Back in the day, there was talk about Jinbe replacing Zoro as vice captain when he joined. Bless the One Piece community, we can always entertain the wildest thoughts. But here's a different way to say it. You can swap Jinbe's and Zoro's positions in the story and it would proceed identically. Check all the essential qualities. 1. Pain tolerance. We met Zoro starving for 9 days, intending to do it for a whole month. Here, you can see Jinbe taking his branding as if he just heard his favorite flavor of seaweed was sold out. Also, he's one of 3 people to take the Impel Down baptism without flinching. They've both taken great pain for Luffy. Zoro, the obvious. Jinbe, he defended Luffy from Akainu and then apologized for him getting hurt, as if whale sharks were Canadian. Quality 2. Defense. Jinbe blocked a slightly starving Big Mom barehanded. And Zoro, once again, the obvious. Quality 3. Keeping Luffy's act together. When Usopp was acting up, Zoro was the one to remind Luffy he had to be a strong leader. When Luffy was mentally wrecked after Marineford, Jinbe was the one who held him down and got him back to his right mind. They're both the only ones to save Luffy in an internally stressful situation. Quality 4. Leadership. Zoro takes charge when Luffy is absent. Examples after Aokiji or stopping Birdcage at Dressrosa. Also, he keeps the crew serious, like at Thriller Bark or Zou. Even after he died for Luffy's sins, he's giving Sanji orders. Jinbe did the same at Whole Cake, giving the crew orders and an inspiring speech, and he wasn't even a full member yet. Plus, on his first day with the crew, he's already ordering Frankie and reassuring Nico. Also, like a good leader, he knows how to delegate. Basically, give Jinbe steroids, and you get Zoro. However, there's one distinction between Zoro and Jinbe, and it's that Jinbe lacks a dream. There's his problem. That's where Mihawk comes in. Mihawk is another character whose Conqueror's Haki is kind of up in the air. He's world-renowned, strong, and a dream haver, but he acts differently. No leadership record to speak of, so we'll get back to him. Zoro sits right at the intersection of these two. He's the fusion of them both. I guess that's the magical source to propel you to Conqueror's Haki. Is the size of the dream relevant though? It's always struck me that the first thing Luffy did when hearing Zoro's dream was to belittle it. But then Mihawk confirmed, Pirate King, greater than, greatest swordsman. Because you know who else has a dream? Sanji. To become a pervert so great his name reaches every watch list in the Grand Line under the 4 seas. Okay, more seriously, Frankie. This aspect of his hasn't been emphasized since he joined the crew, but looking back, he was a strong candidate for Conqueror's Haki, and at the time possibly better than Zoro. Zoro had his 2 followers, Johnny and Yosaku. Frankie had an entire house of devoted followers that he got by cloning the Oda and Kuri situation. He clashed evenly with Luffy and was famous around Water 7. There's also his dream to make a ship that can reach Raftel. That should count as standing above others, right? Even now, he's fearless even in front of Yonko. I mean, when you look at it, Frankie has burnt more rubber in Big Mom's face than Luffy ever did. Hell, when Luffy tried, he got blocked so hard you'd think he sent an unsolicited pic. For each of the evidence, there was stuff that didn't quite add up, and others added up better than expected. But now, it doesn't really matter because Zoro has it. So let's move on to other questions. Now, looking to the future. What can we expect from Zoro? Will he become a stronger leader in Luffy's absence? The official vice captain of the Straw Hats? First captain of the Grand Fleet? Will he tame some animals like Luffy, Oden, or Big Mama? Will he gain some followers? Will he finally round up the swordsmen of Wano? We can start answering them by looking into the past. Important question. Why hasn't he activated it before? He had the opportunity, facing off against the Marines in his introduction. It's identical to Luffy, Ace, and Doflamingo. All 3 were powerless, about to lose something precious to them, but refused to give in and demanded obedience from their enemies. One example for Luffy, outnumbered and overpowered at Marineford, with Ace about to be executed. The situation hopeless. He refused to give in and demanded obedience from the Marines, and his Conqueror's Haki activated. Similarly, Ace, outnumbered and overpowered by the Blue Jam Pirates, with Luffy about to be killed, the situation hopeless. He refused to give in and demanded obedience from his enemies, activating his Conqueror's Haki. For Doflamingo, it wasn't life, but his status at stake. Dying like that, hungry, dirty, tied up, and being judged by a bunch of peasants, he would lose his celestial dream. Similarly for Zoro, hungry, dirty, tied up, the would-be world's greatest swordsman shot like some common Tenberry criminal. These are the perfect conditions for Conqueror's Haki to activate. The dream is important. Mere death is no problem for Zoro. He can face it against Mihawk no problem. For this question, I believe the answer lies in contrasting him with Mihawk one more time. Most importantly, they're both reluctant leaders. Zoro has been shy about it, and everything we know about Mihawk indicates he outright rejected it. But maybe embracing your role as leader could be key to getting regular Conqueror's Haki. So that was my many months late video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. Expect the next video in 1 to 2 weeks. Promise. Okay, have a good life. Jana!